Good morning. Wow. Welcome to our students, faculty, staff, alumni, community members, and esteemed guests. I am Neva Spake, Appalachian State University's acting provost, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 66th Boyles Distinguished Lecture, presented by the Walker College of Business. I also bring greetings on behalf of App State's Chancellor, Dr. Heather Norris, who sends her regrets that she could not join us here today. The Boyles Distinguished Lecture Series stands as a testament to the vision and dedication of the late Harlan E. Boyles, a native of Lincoln County and a six-term North Carolina State Treasurer. Through this series, we honor Harlan's commitment to education, his profound impact on the university, and his enduring legacy of fostering leadership and wisdom among students and business leaders alike. I welcome and thank Edward Boyles for representing his father and family today. I would also like to take a moment to extend a warm welcome to today's keynote speaker, Mr. Todd Campbell. At App State, we take great pride in the many accomplished and impactful leaders among our alumni. Leaders who exemplify innovation, resilience, and a commitment to excellence. Recently named a most admired CEO by the Atlanta Business Chronicle, Todd is a standout example, a trailblazer in all his endeavors. We are honored to welcome you back to campus, Todd, and look forward to the insights you will share with us today. Appalachian State has a national reputation for innovation and teaching excellence, and the Walker College of Business has been noted as a leader in business education, having been recognized by U.S. News, the Princeton Review, as well as CEO, Fortune, and Forbes magazine, just to name a few. Across our Boone and Hickory campuses and online, both the university and the Walker College of Business are committed to preparing graduates to navigate complex challenges and to make meaningful impacts in their industries and communities. I want to say a special thank you to all of our faculty and staff for your dedication to guiding, mentoring, and inspiring the next generation of leaders, including many of the future App State alumni in this room with us today. Thank you all for joining us, and please help me welcome Dean Sandra Vanoy as she introduces our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Provost Spake, and good morning, students, faculty, staff, alumni, community members, and esteemed guests. I'm Sandra Vanoy, Dean in the Walker College of Business. I would like to take a moment to thank Edward Boyles and the Boyles family for their continued support of this series and our university. This series in shaping the leaders of tomorrow has been significant. Through opportunities like today's, students have been inspired, built networks, redefined futures, and further contributed to the foundation of excellence that defines Appalachian State University. Edward Boyles has been a great advocate for Appalachian in his own right. He is a member of our Business Advisory Council, and he's a dear friend of mine. Thank you, Edward, for being with us today. I'm honored now to introduce our featured speaker, Mr. Todd Campbell, President and CEO of Builders Insurance Group. Todd has more than 20 years' experience as CEO and Chief Underwriting Officer in America and the UK. Prior to joining Builders Insurance in 2021, he served as CEO for 4.5 years in one of the fastest growing program insurers in the United States. He has served as a London-based CEO, leading a Lloyd's of London cover holder MGA with offices in London, Paris, and Madrid. During his leadership, profits and GWPs, or gross written premiums, doubled. For his high-impact corporate and cultural change initiatives, Todd and his company were named Employer of the Year in South England by the prestigious Kent Excellence in Business Awards. Todd spent the early part of his career as a corporate mergers and acquisitions attorney and political affairs lobbyist representing insurers and insurance-related organizations in Georgia. During his practice, he was lead attorney on some of the largest health insurer formations and acquisitions in Georgia history, as well as the formation of multiple healthcare and insurance companies in Georgia. He served as counsel to many insurers doing business in Georgia. Todd currently serves as chair of the board of directors for Sagicor Life Insurance Company, part of Sagicor Financial Corporation, a 150-year-old insurer operating across the Caribbean and Canada, publicly traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange with $22 billion in assets under management. Todd is an App State alumnus, having received his bachelor's in history from our College of Arts and Sciences before earning his law degree from Mercer University's Woodruff School of Law in Georgia. While a student at App State, Todd served a two-term student body president, leading the Beer in Boone campaign, which resulted in a resounding victory. Related, his voter registration efforts captured thousands of new student voters in the town of Boone, and his work resulted in a courtroom victory at a time when all student registrations were challenged as illegal. Additionally, to improve safety on campus, Todd led the effort to create Mountaineer Escort, which ultimately resulted in the blue light safety system we see across our campus today. Todd and his mentor, the late Chancellor John Thomas, along with then Boone Mayor and App State Professor Larry Keeter, formed the Community Board of Relations to create a forum for dialogue between students, the university, and the town's business and government leaders. In his senior year, he was appointed as ex officio member of the Boontown Council and was recognized as an outstanding citizen of Boone for his work as a student leader. Todd received not only a degree in history from Appalachian, but quite an education in civics and politics as well. It is now my sincere pleasure to invite to the podium Todd Campbell. Let's give him a warm App State welcome.
Thank you, Dean. That was lovely. Thank you so much. As they leave the stage, I described the Beer in Boone campaign. Somebody said, well, that sounds like Footloose, but for beer, the movie. And it was quite an experience. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you today. I would like to, Acting Provost, where did you go? There you are. Dr. Spake, Dean Benoit, Edward Boyles, Builders Chairman Charlie Potok, esteemed professors, honored guests, of course, students. Thank you for being here today. Good morning. It's an absolute privilege to stand before you today as the 66th Appalachian State University Boyles Distinguished Lecturer. I'm especially thrilled to have my family here, Lori, Reed, and Colette, my four sisters. I'm also grateful for my childhood friends, James Littlejohn and John Hass are here since 2nd and 6th grade. John works on campus and has been here for decades, and so Appalachian has a tremendous meaning in our family. Your lifelong friendship means the world to me. As someone who grew up right here in Boone, Appalachian State holds a deep and meaningful place for our family. On this campus, I truly grew up on this campus. I'm the youngest of 9 children. And being the youngest of 9, my lovely sister Mary, Renee, Leslie, and Carrie Ann, among us and my 4 brothers, we have 9 undergraduate and graduate degrees from Appalachian State and 15 degrees in our entire family among our siblings. And that's from parents who never went to college. My wonderful brother-in-law, Dr. Alan Berger, is here today, and I'm honored by that. His $300 in 1988 and a very tough love conversation helped build the foundation for my law school success. To say I was a slacker and scared to death is an understatement, and he kicked my tail and changed my life. Being a family of extremely modest means, though, we were rich in love. Appalachian gave me and many of my siblings the gift of higher education. And we talked about those degrees. Our lovely mother worked on campus for over 25 years. She was a secretary here. And so saying I truly grew up on this campus, it's everything to come back and walk across this campus, having been here all the way from age 5. I was so fortunate to have Chancellor Thomas in my life. He became a true friend and an amazing mentor to me all through high school and during college when I was a student leader. My first grade classroom was on campus, right across from what is now the post office, the old Whitener Hall. In fact, kids from our era who went to grade school at Appalachian Elementary likely had college classes in their grade school classrooms. And in fact, that was where I went to first grade, and I had the very same classroom for my honors history class, Dr. Speg, in 1985. So it truly does all come around. I got a history and political science degree. Full disclosure, I took a few classes in the Walker College, but I'm not a business major. Instead, I went to law school, and my law practice led to a specialty involving corporate and political work for the insurance industry. And it caused me to develop a deep and lasting fascination with business. I absolutely love business. I love sales and operations and the science behind the systems that make a company run. Most of all, I love leading and building and growing companies, all while lifting up the people on my team and affecting the lives of my teammates in hopefully fundamentally positive ways. When Dean Vinoy invited me for this spectacular honor to be the distinguished lecturer, she said I could speak on any topic. Well, there's so much to talk about today. No shortage of global news, AI, ethics, what have you. I'm not going to do any of that today. I could even give you a long lecture on global insurance and global reinsurance, which is a fascinating industry. But today, with loads of data, I don't want to do that. I want to take a break. And I really just want to give you a simple story about 3 little letters that, when combined, become one of the most powerful things in the English language. So this is really a story coupled with a healthy dose of optimism about really navigating the demands of business at the intersection of life and leadership. But before I do that, I'm going to ask for a quick audience participation. If you wouldn't mind standing up, if you can. If you can't, no worries, I still want you to shout. And so I'm going to step over here. I think I'm mic'd up. This half of the audience, if you would, everybody just give a quick stand. This will take just a minute. Everybody back to 2. Students can't get away. This half of the audience, you have 2 words, and your 2 words are remember when. Okay? So can we practice remember when? 1, 2, 3, remember when? Okay, that was weak. That was so weak. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, remember when? There you go. On this side, you have 3 words. That's all I ask of you. Why didn't I? Right? So on this side, to my right, your left, your 3 words are, why didn't I? Let's give it a good old App State shout. 1, 2, 3. Why didn't I? Oh, they just outclassed you so badly. One more time. We're going to do it 2 more times, all right? So on the count of 3, remember when. This one's why didn't I? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Remember when. 1, 2. Yes, very good. One more time. Remember when. Why didn't I? Fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. Now let's begin. I want to take you on a journey of 5 companies, bold decisions, unexpected twists and failures, scary leaps, and life-altering yeses that transform not just my career, but my entire outlook on life. To all the students here, raise your hands if you know where all this is going for you after school. Yes, you know the job you're taking, but how life is going to work out. Right? Very few hands. I didn't either. I always thought I was going to be a lawyer. Because when I was a little kid, everybody always said, hey, Campbell, God, you never shut up. You like to talk a lot. You should be a great lawyer. You'll make a great lawyer. You like to argue. Boy, would you make a great lawyer. So, for no other real reason other than that's what I was told to do, I went to be a lawyer. And after graduation from here, again, my insurance training, my history training was just fantastic prep work for law school and law school success. After passing the bar in 1991, Lori, my lovely wife, we moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I worked for nearly 10 years building a law practice and thinking, I was going to be a corporate attorney the rest of my days. And that is when things got really interesting. Now, let me take you back to a pivotal moment. It was 2001, and over those 10 years, I'd built and carved out a successful law practice, navigating the complexities of insurance regulation and mergers and acquisitions. I was a lobbyist down at the Capitol and had the really good fortune to build a solid law practice. Yet just 6 weeks after earning the coveted title of equity partner, a milestone I had worked relentlessly to achieve, I walked away. I quit at the very top. In a moment of audacious clarity, and my friends would say, no, that was a moment of audacious insanity, I walked away from a hugely secure financial future. Our youngest child, Colette, was 6 weeks old. Her brother, Reed, right over here, was 3 years old. My law school loans were enormous. Now, why did I walk away from a safe and secure financial future? Well, it's because instead of an easy no, I said yes. Yes to an opportunity that seemed crazy on paper. Indeed, it was crazy. To become the CEO of a small, struggling insurance company in need of a complete turnaround and reset, all with hardly any capital at age 35. You see, I'd come to love the business of my clients, what happened inside the company. Every time we closed a deal, I had to walk away. I never got to see what happened after, so I wanted to run a company. I just didn't know if I'd ever get the chance. A client had hired me to buy an insurance company for them. And one night, getting close to closing the deal, just a few nights before the public hearing to buy the small insurance company, the phone rings. I pick it up in my law firm office. It's the client on the other end of the phone. He says, Todd, we know we need to buy this company because we want to insure our business and keep it in the family instead of pay all the premiums away to other people. But we don't know a thing about how to run it. It's highly regulated. You're the safest pair of hands we've ever met. We've checked you out with your other clients. They say you're a good guy. Well, I didn't know how to run a company either. To say that, I knew anything at that time how to run an insurance company, much less any company, having never managed more than 3 or 4 people in my life. That would be an understatement of all time. But I didn't say that out loud. I thought in the moment, if anyone is crazy enough to give me this chance at this age, well, I simply have to take it. If I crash and burn, at least I'm young enough and agile enough to hopefully rebuild my law practice. But to say I had any clue, like I mentioned, would be a profound understatement. But that leap of faith, that jumping from law partnership and leaving my practice behind to running that first insurance company when I had never managed more than 3 or 4 folks, changed my life. And I'm here to describe how instead of taking the easy no, that embracing the power of yes can truly revolutionize your life and your career. Now, my fantastic wife, Lori, who's in the audience here, an App grad herself, we used to travel to London multiple times a year as part of that first insurance company because we bought our reinsurance from Lloyd's of London, which we'll talk about in a minute. I know the insurance students are aware of what I'm speaking about. London is truly the heart of the global insurance and reinsurance industry. 50,000 people, professionals work in less than 1 square mile in and around Lloyd's of London, the 300-year-old heart of the global insurance and reinsurance industry. Hundreds of billions of dollars of risk are traded globally right from there every year. Premiums alone coming out of Lloyd's, just one insurance market, is almost $80 billion US. Well, with neither of us growing up with much economically at all, as I said, I'm a kid from Boone whose mom was a secretary here. On our first trip, we had never left the States. In 2001, that pivotal moment, it's a gorgeous October day under blue skies in London, which are rare, but it was a spectacular, crisp autumn day. Lori and I take a break. We bought some sandwiches at a grocery store called Marks and Spencer's, which is basically the Harris Teeter of England. I know everybody can relate to that. In that moment, sitting on that bench, we grasped the enormity of the great big world out there that neither of us really didn't know at all. And right then and there, sitting on that bench, we made a promise to each other. If the chance were to ever come up to move overseas, perhaps London, we would say yes. And we would make that move to London and experience the world in a bigger way. Now, both of us thought such a thing would never happen, but at that age, hey, it's awesome to dream. It's fun to dream. But here's the thing about saying yes. It's not always about climbing corporate ladders or chasing dollars or collecting fancy titles. Sometimes it's about rolling with life's punches, what the universe throws at you. I ran that first insurance company for nearly 10 years, working nonstop to grow it. Like I said, it's nearly impossible to grow a company with no cash, no capital. Those 10 years were fun, exhilarating, hard, exhausting, a time when I learned so much. I still describe it today to friends that I got a PhD in insurance, global reinsurance, and leadership, and I got paid for it. And just like that, nearly 10 years later, the next opportunity arrived to become CEO of a pretty large life insurance company. I'd been a board director on that board for a number of years, and the group CEO asked me to come off the board and turn it around and become the CEO of the U.S. enterprise. At the moment, I thought it was the largest opportunity that would ever come across my career. So I took it. The people were fantastic. The company, 150 years old, a legendary brand in its markets, operating across the Caribbean, the U.S., and Canada. But guess what? Life had gone pretty swimmingly up until that point, but I failed completely and almost immediately. Now, why did I fail? Well, it's because after all that time running that first company, I had reached a state of total physical and mental exhaustion. In other words, a complete and total case of wicked burnout, coupled with a period of situational anxiety. All that work leading that first insurance company, coupled with the death of our father, who passed away in a car, hit by a car crossing the street. It's difficult to describe here, but why do I describe it? Well, that, coupled with working so hard to build that first company, it all came together, and it hit me hard. On the Friday of Labor Day, 2010, I had just joined the life company, been a couple of months. We take a break from the board meeting, getting ready to fly home, be with the family for Labor Day weekend. The group CEO pulls me aside, grabs me by the elbow. Todd, come into your office. He said, you don't look so good. Are you okay? In a moment of absolute fear, shocking clarity, I had to speak the truth from my own health. I didn't see it coming. Saying something I couldn't believe. The scene went like this. Sitting at the small, little round, brown conference table pushed up against the wall, I take a deep breath. Slowly begin speaking, haltingly, saying to him, I don't want this. I can't do this job. I had hit a wall at 1,000 miles an hour and simply couldn't carry on. Until that moment, I hadn't admitted to myself that I had reached burnout, believing that I owed my all to everyone else in my life. I say to him, you have every reason to kick me out right now and put me on the street because I'm letting you down. Now, mind you, this group CEO is an amazing man, a dear friend today, a mentor, a board colleague still. His grace and his kindness in the moment were incredible and staggering to a young fella who perhaps when I needed it most. He looks down, he pauses, he takes off his glasses, and he looks me square in the eye. Todd, you're the happiest, most optimistic person we've ever had in this company, and you've just got to get through this. What we're going to do is hold your job open for a year while you take some time to rest. All you have to do is call us when you're ready to come back. You'll always be a part of this company. Man, you're not firing me? You're not going to kick me out right now? Utterly stunned, I just could barely utter the words. I thought a movie scene was about to play out when they march you out with a box packed of stuff. He says, of course not, man. He smiles. He said, the exact same thing happened to me when I was about your age. We've been around 150 years. We'll be around for 150 more. You just need to take care of yourself so that you're okay and you can look out for your family. So in that moment, I said yes to myself for the first time in a long time. I'd worked so hard at taking care of others and relentlessly building my first company. I forgot to look out for myself. But stepping away from that life insurance company CEO role, which I thought was so big time, was the best perhaps the bravest decision I've yet made in my entire career. I'm very proud to say I've remained on that board of directors. And as the dean kindly mentioned, I remain, for the past 2 years, I've served as their U.S. chairman, working with tremendous professionals, learning incredible aspects of risk management and governance, even today, that have brought so much fulfillment and joy to my career. So I rested a few months, came back stronger with a completely refreshed outlook on life, on working and managing people, and bolstered by having developed a deeper understanding of the kindness and grace and basic human decency so important to successful leadership. But I didn't come back as CEO. Instead, I rejoined the board, as I mentioned, knowing my skills were better suited to be a director and not their chief executive officer. After those few months of rest, I was recruited and offered another position to be the CEO of a different company. Now, remember that story about sitting on the park bench and dreaming about moving to London? Well, a few months later, that was the offer I got. I was asked to run an MGA, as Dean Vinoy mentioned, a managing general agency and Lloyd's cover holder in London. Well, to the non-insurance people in the audience, an MGA is really an insurance company without owning the risk. They underwrite, they create product, they sell, they distribute. This particular company was based in London, in Paris, and Madrid. Mostly distributed products across France. Sitting at our house on the back patio one beautiful April spring evening, after the London offer had been extended, Lori and I chatted about whether to move to London. All of a sudden, she pauses. And she looks right at me, stares me in the eye, and says, "Remember that promise we made to each other 10 years ago, sitting on that bench in London?" I nod, like, where's this going? She says, "Let's go. I want us to be 80 years old, looking at each other and saying, 'Remember when?' I don't want us to be 80 years old saying, 'Why didn't we?'" Wow, what power, what extreme clarity in so few words. Clearly the vastly better half of our marriage. In that moment, we said yes to our promise to one another 10 years before, yes to moving to London, yes to lifting up our family and transferring schools for our children, yes to leaving behind the American high school and middle school lives that they had, ages 16 and 12 at that time. But this wasn't just a yes about a career move. This was a yes wrapped up in a total family life experience. Once again, just like that huge, scary jump from law practice, it was a massive leap of faith for our family, and we all jumped. We took our children from their familiar surroundings in Atlanta, enrolled them in the American School London, made famous, down by Abbey Road, made famous by the Beatles, immersing them in an experience that Lori and I had always dreamed of as being kids from very modest means, which we never thought possible. So what happened? Our 4 children developed emotional strength and resiliency. They deeply engaged in a school filled with dozens of cultures. They ran track in France and Germany and Italy. They traveled to dozens of other countries. London pushed us as a very close family to become even closer. But although family life was fantastic, it's not always sunshine and roses. The job that took us over there tested every ounce of my resolve and called upon every skill in my being. Some I didn't even know existed. You see, the company's founders didn't really want me there. They'd sold to foreign investors half a world away who hired me, but they managed to negotiate, the sellers managed to negotiate a way to stay on. To the business students in the audience, don't let that happen. Then, dispatched to run the company, in walks a young American CEO who, to get this, to manage a French-speaking company based in England, owned by complete foreigners, distributing insurance products across all of France and parts of Europe. Did I speak French? Heck no. Did I ever manage a multicultural international workforce before? You guessed it, that would be a big no. In fact, since the buyers failed at the cultural aspect of due diligence in the deal, they trusted the sellers about everything and let them stay on. They never even really told the staff I was even showing up to run the company. Conveniently, that was hid as well from the new owners half a world away. The day I showed up, they found an empty desk on the open floor plan, because over there in England, everything's open floor plan. There's no offices anywhere. They put me in that desk, and I felt like, This is a big setup orchestrated by the sellers to ensure my failure and eventually chase me out of there. But rather than fester in anger at the situation, I found their behavior childish, kind of sad, kind of funny really, but really kind of sad. So I acted with speed and conviction and did my best to rapidly adapt to the truly odd circumstances thrown at me. 2 days later, sitting at my open floor plan desk, I sent an email and called an all-hands town hall meeting, about 70, 80 employees. I'm pleased to introduce you to my new CEO, our new CEO. I said, I took a couple steps to the left and I waited a moment. I said, hey y'all, it's me. They were shocked. As their new CEO, in that moment, they heard from me, things are going to change immediately. We were going to set out on a path of audacious growth. Audacious growth and profitability. And from now on, we would practice radical transparency in leadership and communications. Try explaining that to 50, 60, 70 young British and French colleagues. It appeared I derailed the CEO failure plan in its tracks. But the hard work was just beginning. Early the next morning, a small group of the team gathered up to come and have a quiet word with me behind the backs of those sellers I told you that were orchestrating a failure. With their deep French accents, but pretty good English, they said, Todd, we're glad you are here, but we expected the American Cowboy, John Wayne. And they probably would have said Kevin Costner from Yellowstone too, but it was before that show came around. Well, as you can see, I'm not a cowboy. I'm about 182 pounds, wringing wet. So they didn't get the challenge. They didn't get the Kevin Costner or John Wayne archetype. But challenging that young team who were brave enough to have a quiet word with me, I asked them to join me on a transformative journey. And we got to work. We could moan about the situation or we could fight. We could resign or engage for impact. I chose to fight and engage, and so did most of that team. Well, no wonder why they didn't want an American CEO coming in. They had the run of the place. The culture was filled with toxic issues. But the lessons of my exhaustion and burnout the year before had taught me so much about resilience. The whole look of my life, the outlook was forever changed. Instead of seeing an insurmountable, incredibly difficult set of challenges for a young American CEO, my thinking was different now. It became a puzzle, sort of Rubik's Cube of components, parts. Different country, mashup of cultures, foreign ownership, disgruntled sellers, skeptical, but really talented young team. Folks, this was a Harvard Business Review case, if there ever was one. Well, what happened? Well, soon the sellers were out of the company. Teams were empowered to act on their own, to be creative, and to lead. Rather than shutting down and accepting defeat, it's not like I could just pack up the family and head back to America too quickly across the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of the school year. I said yes to the challenge before me of rebuilding and transforming the company in a variety of ways. Within 2 years, our company had grown by 140% in the top line, doubled our bottom line profits. Several young team members were recognized by the industry for their fantastic professional work, where no teammate had ever been recognized or awarded or rewarded ever. We radically built the people up and instead of tearing down, and we changed that business and culture. So much so, as Dean Vinoy mentioned, we were named Employer of the Year in all of Southern England. This was a cultural and dramatic business transformation. At the awards evening, a bunch of the team joined me on the stage. This was their win, their victory. The work challenges were profound and hard to navigate day in and day out, but they were vastly surpassed by the many lessons I learned from work and the rewards of living in Europe, deepening our family bonds. Professionally, I learned the art of navigating diverse cultures and winning them over. Not everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but got most of them. Professionally, it was so rewarding. I often traveled to our Paris and Madrid offices, where I spent time on a regular basis, even on the most trying and worst of days, and there were plenty, because it is called work for a reason. Every time that train crossed over the London Bridge on the way home in the evening, crossed over the Thames, or every time the Eurostar pulled into Gare du Nord station in Paris, or when I take a morning jog running down the river, heading towards the Eiffel Tower, I thought, hold on a second, a kid from Boone, North Carolina gets to do this? Dude, that's fun. You got to soak up every single bit of this amazing life experience. It was a journey that taught me sometimes saying yes isn't just about the job opportunity. It's about turning hardship and challenges into personal growth. Professionally, that role made me become a better leader. Personally, our London yes, our Europe yes, gave Europe and the city to our children. It's almost a second home to them now as it is to Lori and me. It is a gift of a lifetime. But the lessons of yes are cumulative. Each powerful experience builds you, molds you, gets you ready for the next iteration, if your mind is open to it. Every step along the way, from taking risks to embracing setbacks, has built the foundation for where I stand today. Remember that as you build your careers and get ready to take your next steps. You know, there's so much in the press today about saying no at work, saying no because too many projects, so many things to be tied up into, and saying no for fear of failure. And that's okay, because that is a perfectly normal human response. But the yes that I speak of is bigger. It's somewhat like what you all have heard about the growth mindset, perhaps. To me, it's always about being in tune with yourself and the opportunities that happen, to being open to possibilities that arise in your life through dedication, hard work, expertise, and sometimes simply good fortune. Speaking of fortune, a recent Fortune magazine article addressed something called career accelerants, those big leaps that happen, those things that kind of pop up in your career that really leap you forward, different than what might be expected as a traditional next step. Those big leaps, those accelerants, those opportunities to say yes, when they arrive can be daunting and scary, like leaving partnership, picking that first job as you're getting ready to graduate, leaving America with young kids, going into a pretty strange work environment. But those things are easy to say no to, and yet they can deliver life-altering and amazing experiences. And what are some of those skills that we talk about saying yes, those career accelerants that you must have, you must hone to be successful? A woman named Elena Botello, she's a CEO behavioral researcher. She writes for the Harvard Business Review, and her work was quoted in that Fortune magazine. She laid out 4 things that are essential to successful leadership. Couldn't agree more. She's spot on. First, deciding with speed and conviction. 2, engaging for impact. 3, proactively adapting to a range of circumstances. Finally, number 4, relentlessly and reliably delivering results. Something I often refer to as being that safe pair of hands. To me, it's about your colleagues and your board, knowing you relentlessly deliver results and you communicate often transparently and fearlessly with the good, the bad, and the ugly facts. Never run away from difficult information. Raise it as soon as you can. To be sure, saying yes always carries risks and challenges, but early career failures and successes will be amazing learning opportunities. They certainly were for me. These successes and failures are welcomed by boards of directors, hiring managers, et cetera, who like to see how candidates navigate obstacles and even self-inflicted missteps. So remember, sometimes taking the risk really is worth it, even if it doesn't become a spectacular win. Our family moved back to America in 2016, came home to run a London-owned but US-based insurance company, the one that Dean Vinoy referenced in the introduction. We grew it from a bail and surety insurance company to a specialty insurance company, meaning we wrote really esoteric lines of business on a national basis. We grew it from 0 to about $650 million right at 4 years. Then COVID hit. Just before that happened, our group founder, an amazing guy, a tremendous entrepreneur, loved in the city of London, he announced his retirement. Well, I decided I wasn't going to stick around because I thought a lot of him too. I didn't like where things are going with his departure. So I was going to leave too. And just about that time, I found myself being offered to be the CEO of a private equity startup insurance company out of California, the backing. They flew me out to California, put all kinds of stock options on the table, representing a chance at significant wealth, maybe even generational wealth. But the life lessons one experiences have a funny way of coming full circle. Remember that story earlier about burnouts and workloads? Without that experience, a time I'm incredibly grateful for, even though it was so difficult, I really wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I seriously doubt I would have been as successful navigating the London experience, and my clarity of thought wouldn't have been as fine-tuned for this opportunity. Just like the conversation Lori and I had about moving to London on that back patio a few years before. We had another deep conversation about this role. We concluded that while it was compelling, the job would have absolutely crushed me, working for the next 5 to 7 years, relentlessly building it to get ready to take public for private equity owners. In that moment, once again, we said yes, but this time we said yes to balance, yes to joy, yes to us. We chose what mattered most, and faithfully, and without even realizing it, turning down this private equity CEO role provided me the freedom of yes to being ready for what is perhaps the greatest opportunity to ever come through my career. And that's to be, as the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Builders Insurance Group, the role I hold today. I was all set for a likely retirement in 2021 as we were in COVID, and I was stepping away from the other group. Builders had conducted a national CEO search. I was fortunate enough to make the short list. A wonderful gent named Charlie Potok, who's right here, gave me a phone call and said, Todd, we'd like to offer you the job. Of course, you guessed it, I said yes. Unlike that first insurance company, this company has a ridiculous amount of capital. It is so fortunate. We are so fortunate to have an incredibly powerful financial position, a class-leading financial strength rating. And the office is 10 minutes from my house. Makes it really nice. It was clear, though, this company had become stale after about 32 years of business. Kind of lost a good bit of its way. A kind of darkness had settled over the company, similar to that London team. The company was fractured a bit, and the colleagues certainly were. Attrition and turnover was about 22%, sky high. And just like that London experience, the team needed hope. They needed something to believe in, a vision of a bigger, brighter, more successful future, filled with light, not darkness. It needed serious, dramatic, rapid cultural and turnaround operations action. Let me add it, I thought. I couldn't wait to get started. Once again, it became a fun challenge instead of a burden. That Rubik's Cube, a puzzle filled with pieces of hard but deeply rewarding work, of tearing down silos and the old ways and building up the company and building up our people. Onboarding deep into COVID made meeting colleagues really difficult. But after nearly 4 years, we're on our path to double the company, which I believe we'll achieve within about 18 months. At 3%, roughly, we have one of the lowest attrition rates in the entire United States for the insurance industry. We are now a multi-award-winning national workplace because of our fantastic people. Where this company never won a thing, and I wouldn't have surveyed and won anything either if I were leading that company because it was so fractured. Now our teammates are thriving. They can be their authentic selves every day at our office. It doesn't matter where they come from, and it doesn't matter what they look like. If you're a solid professional willing to help build the culture and the vision of this company, then you belong at Builders. This is a place where you can be something truly bigger than yourself. You can be part of a company that is fundamentally good and growing. You know, sadly today, there's a lot of almost violent negative talk about the insurance industry. Folks, this is deeply misguided. It's just plain wrong. I am very proud of the insurance industry where I built my career. Insurance and reinsurance is a fundamental building block of American society. It is the strength of a resilient economy. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the industry, high wages, and our business as an industry is very green. Without it, business in America would actually stop completely. Insurance touches everything we do in our daily lives, and at Builders, we support small and large businesses from significant financial loss. We protect families. How do we protect families? Because we help the injured worker get back to the best place they can be following that injury. How fantastic is that? I think it's sensational. So forget all that negative talk about the industry. It's filled with wonderful people on great missions, just like the work at the Brantley Center here and the Walker College of Business on its mission to develop the next generation of insurance professionals. This is a nationally known and respected place where insurance companies just like Builders come to hire great students. And let me tell you, it's filled with them right here at App State. At Builders, we're deeply grateful, deeply prideful, just like you, that a key part of our important mission is to do the best to help that injured worker and that family. As a Chief Executive Officer at Builders, I am grateful every day for the chance to say yes to building a better company, a better career experience for our team, and to have a company that has a profound and deep impact on the communities and people we serve. Today, our company is a super regional insurance company managing over $1.1 billion in assets with hundreds of millions of dollars in sales and hundreds of employees. Are we the biggest? Not by a long shot. But our team is awfully good at what they do every day. That scrappy little insurance company that I left Law Partnership for over 20 years ago, through the power of yes, has taken our family around the world, led to countless incredibly tough and beautiful life experiences, deep friendships in dozens of countries, and a tremendously rewarding career, culminating in leading a company now hundreds of times larger and thriving because of those audacious and scary choices and the cumulative, powerful learning that goes along with successes and failures from each experience. So it comes down to this. Every single one of these yeses, from the wild leaps without a safety net to the quiet pauses and conversations on the back patio at the house, have led me to where I am and shaped me into the leader I am today. Every step you take builds upon the one just gone by and gets you better prepared for what's coming, even if you have no idea what's on the way. Being open to yes, to the possibilities, always provides you the opportunity to become more, to be more, to stretch, to enjoy life in all its beautiful, rich tapestry and its messy beauty, to stretch, to challenge yourself, and find out what you are capable of. So folks, here's my challenge to all of you. Remember that little exercise we did at the beginning with the 2 words and the 3 words? Say yes. Say yes to the messy, scary, even ridiculous opportunities. Say yes to the hard pauses and the bold, radical leaps when they arrive for you. Say yes to building a personal and business life that lights you up. The future isn't some distant amorphous thing. It's right here, right now, right outside those doors, just daring you to embrace it. So live in the world. Get out there. Take the risk and say yes. And one day when you do, I know you'll look back fondly because you'll have the reward of saying, remember when, instead of, why didn't I? Thank you all. Thank you.
Hello. Todd, thank you. Those are very, very good and inspirational words. We appreciate you doing that and spending this time with us. And thank you to all the family that and friends that made their way here because of you. So it was very nice. Provost Spake, Dean Vinoy, thank you for all you do for the Walker College as well as for Appalachian. And it's a pleasure to be back here with you all on campus. The lecture series has a symbol. It's the American Eagle. And the eagle symbolizes strength, gracefulness, keenness of vision, and power of flight. Todd, we're pleased to present to you this Crystal Eagle in appreciation for your time and participation in this lecture series with us today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Todd. And thank you all for attending. This concludes the Harlan Boyles Distinguished Lecture. If you have registered for today's luncheon, please proceed to the floor of the Convocation Center And students, please make sure you've checked in on the concourse before you leave today. And thank you all again for being here.